Hi guys, it's Emily from Noble Novels and welcome to today's video. This is my 2023 wrap up and goals for 2024. Now, this isn't going to be a long video, but I wanted to do a little wrap up, a little bit of stats, a little bit of talking about in total how last year felt, and a few goals for 2024. Now my 2024 goals are not numerical apart from the one, obviously my Goodreads goal. But they're just ideas. They're just things that I want to do for myself for 2024. I've written them down, but I have added a few in my head that I think, oh, I could do, I might do this. But they're going to be goals that not necessarily, oh, wait, why am I talking about them? I'll talk about them in a minute. Let's get on with the wrap up. Obviously, I've done my storygraph wrap up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some pictures at the end of this, where I'll show you some of the statistics and things like that via the pictures on the app, because I think that's actually really helpful. The Goodreads wrap up was okay, but for me, I like the way the storygraph wrap up does the pictures, and it can give you some information that I don't necessarily need to go on about and describe exactly. But obviously for me, my numbers on the storygraph and on the Goodreads are not exactly what I've counted on the books, because I count my physical books. Sometimes the storygraph doesn't update certain books that I've read, or it's not been able to find them. Sometimes I've done like short story collections and I've written down my numbers differently. So my numbers are always what I write down in my book, in my journal, my sort of logbook. Please ignore the fact this Harry Potter one. Please ignore that. This was given to me years ago. But this is what I write. So obviously I don't know if I've shown you before. I'm sure I probably have. But this is what I write down my book. So this is a sneaky peek for what I've read this year. Do what last year. But obviously I've got my title and author, genre, star rating, pages. Pages are because my copies don't always match the copies that the storygraph and the Goodreads rate. Because I like my Goodreads because I can write like a very short review. And that was something that I did last year that I was able to write. I think I wrote like a one-line review on nearly every single book that I wrote. But Goodreads for the same reason keeps kicking me off when I try and write my really good reviews, my longer reviews. It kicks me off and doesn't always let me finish them. So it's proving slightly harder. I'm preferring storygraph in all honesty because it's a quick, easy way of updating my books without having to give much of a review. You guys hear what I think about the books on here. And if you always want to know more, you can always ask me. But yeah, this is what I use as every time I do a book. I have a little code on here. The R in a circle is a reread book from my shelf. So obviously rereads, if I've reread a book and I've not had a physical copy, or I've got rid of the copy and I've changed my copies, then that doesn't count as a reread on here. And R on here is a reread copy of my shelf. And F obviously is a favourite, and sometimes they get scrapped, sometimes they go favourite and then they're not. But it gives me an idea of what have been my favourites. And then at the end of the year, when I go through and find my favourites for the year, that's what I use as my guideline. I also have my little doodle bit there, so then I know what a little sort of almost like a break, and that's where I've filmed the books I've read for the first half, for the video for the first half, and then I know which ones I've got to include for the second half of my wrap ups. So this has always worked for me. I literally go back. This journal here has given me ideas, and it goes back to 2020. So this is my 4th year of using this journal, and it's proven really vital. Don't know how many, this might be the last year on this journal. I'll have to get a new one, which will be really weird, but this one's been really good. I need to put that down. And also at the end of each month, I write down how many I've read of each genre up here, how many I've read in total, and it's a quick and easy way of finding out those statistics. I've got that there just in case I want to look at notes to things. But here's the statistics bit of it, and we'll go from there. I read a total of 398 books according to that. I was kind of hoping I'd get to 400, and previously I've got to 400, and the last 2 years I went up, and this year I've gone down. But we'll talk about that in a second, but I want to go down next year. But I'm happy with the fact that's gone down, because it's meant I've done more. And obviously I'll talk about that bit in a minute. So here's the genre stats. I read 1 sci-fi, which I know I'll be reading more of that this year, because at the time of filming this, I'm reading A Closed and Common Orbit by Becky Chambers, and I'm going to get Jem from Gemma Books' advice about what sci-fi books to look for, because I'm bloody loving this. This is a favourite of the month at the moment. It's just absolutely, it's wowing me out of the side. I know it's sci-fi done well. It's sci-fi done in a manageable way. Characters that I love. This is flipping. So that number will be going up because I've got a video coming up next, which will be my series goals, I think. Or is it my big, no, my big books is next. I've got a series video that's coming up after that. But yeah, that series will be continued this year. So that number will be going up. I've only written down one literary fiction book, but according to my storygraph, I've read more. So whether I'm judging literary fiction different, I don't know. But according to the storygraph, I've read more than that. I only read one horror, and I think that, I can't even remember if that was a middle grade horror, which might have been my Evelyn Jones one. How is it that, because I don't like horror. In general, horror is not my thing. The Evelyn Jones middle grade horror is probably about as much as I can manage. And that's okay. I've learnt that that's fine. So that one horror, I think, is that. But sometimes I've got historically fiction-y horror, kind of the ones that go over the line on that. And again, that doesn't bother me either. I read 2 graphic novels, which I think were the Heartstopper ones. I don't tend to buy graphic novels because I read them too quickly. So my Heartstopper, Mia's got the next 2 Heartstopper. I've got to read her 3 and 4 Heartstopper, and then I would like to buy 4. She's now decided she doesn't want to read them. She doesn't read. How could she be my child? But yeah, so I already know what that is. 2 poetry collections. I think both of those, no, one of those is Charles Heathcote's one. And I think the other one was the one I read for Victober. So again, I know these lower number ones, I know. Charles Heathcote's poetry collection is so good. I'll link Charlie's Hit channel down below, but his books are incredible and his poems were brilliant. They were the ones that made me smile, made me laugh. They had Charlie's sense of humour. I don't do poetry in general, but his poems are really good. And obviously at the moment I'm reading the love poems, so I don't know whether this will be a poetry already on the thingy. 8 fiction books. Now for me, fiction wasn't necessarily books that were contemporary, but weren't historical fiction. So they kind of went in just a fiction. So that could be where the literary fiction bit on my statistics was going. I rated it as fiction. I rate book, because for me contemporary is more romance, family contemporary, that kind of thing. So if a book doesn't hit that, but isn't historical, then that will be where it goes on fiction. So I don't know which ones. I read 13 thrillers this year. That's not bad. But I think more of those are mysteries. This thriller in this context is thriller and mysteries. And going forward, I plan to read more mysteries going forward, because I've discovered don't like thrillers. I need to go through my thriller shelf. I don't like thrillers very much. I've got quite a lot on my shelves that I need to probably get rid of. But I do like mysteries. Alice has got, that was down to Alice. Alice got me a lot more into mysteries this year. And again, I'll be talking about that in a minute. But yes, thrillers is certainly a number that's gone up. But the number that surprised me on going up was actually fantasy. I read 19 fantasy this year. But I think for me, fantasies are middle grade fantasies or YA fantasies. And I've discovered I don't like high fantasy, not brilliant, although I would like to try one of the Sarah J Maas series. I know that I need to read the last in the ACOTAR series, because Cat from Brews and Reviews has talked about that. And I kind of wouldn't mind finishing that series a little bit. And that's The Court of Silver Flames, I think. So I need to try and find that in the charity shops. I won't buy it, but I might find it in the charity shops or see if I can look for it on Goodreads, on BorrowBox. But fantasy is something I've really got back into, and I discovered why I love it. I read a couple of Kaylin Byron's books, and I know she's got a new book coming out this year, which is a fantasy retelling of Snow White, I believe, which I can't wait. So actually, I want to go back to fantasy again. I know I'm reading the next Bridget Kemner book that's coming out soon. It's coming out in January. I'll be buying that, reading that February or March. I don't care. I think it'll probably be March at this rate. That might be a good birthday thing. But obviously going forward, that'll be something I'll talk about in my goals. But that number I'm really happy with. Bloody love fantasy. It's been something that's really gone for me. Now to 2 that I was a bit surprised about. The 2 that are very similar in number. And that is non-fiction. I read 31 non-fiction. And I read a lot of Kathy Glass according to that. But Kathy Glass is an author. It's her pen name for her foster care authors. And I really enjoyed those. I've read a lot of those. Not enjoyed them, but they're good. They're very, very good. But I'm very fussy with my non-fiction, but I am wanting to do more of that. And I think non-fiction is a good staple. I will read a non-fiction every month, and I think that's quite good. Very good, actually. Classics I read less. I read 33 classics this year, and that was fine. But I had a real classic slump. Really, really badly had a classic slump the past couple of years. So talking about my goals, I'll discuss that more on that. But you've seen what some of the videos I've done on classics, and they've actually been really good. But I want to be a bit pickier on my classics, because the classics I've had real slumpy bumpies with it. Now, these next two are obviously, we know my two top genres. Historical fiction was 127, contemporary is 154. They are my staple reads. They are the books that I've got the most contemporary, the most historical fiction. Although the historical fiction tends to rate higher than the contemporaries, because it takes a lot for a contemporary to be high rated, but they are my comfort. Contemporaries are my cosy reads when I really need something to wrap me up. And I also find historical fiction can be quite like that, because even though the historical fiction ones make me cry and are hard-hitting, I think for me, I love historical fiction because it teaches me about the past and where we can go, and I find a lot of strength in historical fiction. Strength is what I find if I need a book to boost me up, to remind me of our history, to remind me of what our ancestors have done, certainly my own ancestors in my family, historical fiction is what I can go to. If I need a book to give me a hug, then contemporary is what I go for. It's light, it doesn't require much brain power, but there are some really good contemporaries out there. I think going forward, I think in February, I'm thinking about doing a video about contemporaries and like comparing the historical fiction and contemporary, my numbers and things like that. But would you like more videos on contemporaries? Because I know those videos don't do well. I know my historical fiction videos do well, and my classics videos do well, but my contemporaries don't tend to. But would you like to do more? We'll have a see. So we'll do it on that. Okay. So here's the number. Onto my unread on TBR statistics. At the start of January, I had January 2023. My unread TBR at the 1st of January 2023 was 371 books. My unread TBR at the start of January 2024 is 317 books. So I got it down by 54 books, which could be lower. But my goal will be, I'll talk about that in a minute. But again, I'm not fussed. I'm happy that I'm getting near my 300. I don't necessarily want it to dip too low below 300 because I like having a library. And that is what I have. I have my own personal library that I buy my books for. I decide what I'm keeping in it. It's mine, and it's something that I'm proud of. And is that okay? Like, is that, for me, I like having loads of books. I like having books on my shelf that if I have a need, because I own so many books, and I set my TBR for the month, like my TBR for the month lower than I know I can physically read. It means I can mood read, and that is what I like to be able to do. I like to be able to look at my shelves and always have something there that if I need it, I've got it there. If I can handle something harder, I can go harder. If I need something softer, I can go that, and I can mood read, because to me, books are about pleasure. So those numbers are fine. I'm okay with that. So that's the sort of number side of it. Now let's talk about some favourite moments. I've not done any negative comments in this. No worst books, nothing like that, because I want to think like positivity. Yeah, like I know my gratitude journals, they don't do well statistically. People don't tend to watch them. But I'm okay with that, because for me, it's a personal thing for me. It's something I need to do. I need to look at what makes me happy every month, because I'm someone that has anxiety and depression. I'm now going through the perimenopause, so I'm going through, and I've got problems with that, as well as the chronic pain issues. So it's just joy. But I need to look at positivity moments. I need to think on the bright side, because I'm not wallowing. I'm flatly refusing to let shit get to me now. I'm going to be strong. I'm going to smash it this year. And that's, obviously, I'll talk about goals. But yeah, I don't care. So let's talk about happy. So my favourite series of 2020-23 was the Seven Sisters series. Yes, technically, the Atlas Parcel is getting ready in February. So sneaky peek. And that's the last in the series. But it was the last set. The Missing Sister was supposed to be the last one. But thank God they left it hanging, and thank God they wrapped it up better. But that, to me, was the series I read that year. Lucinda Riley was my go-to author that year. She was my top read author, apparently. And I love the Seven Sisters series. It was the best series I've ever read, I think. It's got historical fiction. It's got some present-day storylines. It was the dog's bollocks. It was my favourite. I absolutely love that series. Lucinda Riley was a brilliant, brilliant author, and I'm gutted she's died, but I will go back and reread all her older books. We've got stacks of them in the charity shop, so I'm going to be reading them. I'm going to finish the parcel and then leave it in a month or so, and then go back, and I've got a couple of unread her bigger books. Her books are big, so that's another video coming up about the big books. I think that's going to be my next one. But they're big, but I'm going to read them because they're easy to read. A new author to me that's now one of my new favourites. I've got, you guys know I've got my favourites. I've got a favourite from every genre. But a new author that I grew to love last year was Agatha Christie. So Bernard's going to love me. Alice is going to love me. Naomi's going to be happy. I loved Agatha Christie's books last year, and I bought a lot more of her books for 2024. So you'll be seeing me reading a lot more Agatha Christie. I think the fact is I've set my TBR for February already, but March I'll be reading another Agatha Christie, and probably every 2 to 3 months I'll be reading Agatha Christie. I just need to decide. I've got more Poirot books, and I'm going to be hunting for all of her books in charity shops. I've got a couple of Miss Marple, so do I try Miss Marple next? Let me know down below. Alice, I'm going to link you so you can tell me which way I go. Although I could ask her. Doesn't matter. A new genre that I've been loving has been fantasy, middle grade fantasy. I've read a lot of YA fantasy, but I've now discovered middle grade fantasy. Bloody brilliant too, and I'm really, really enjoying my middle grade. I've gone back to loving middle grade. It's something I'm reading every month, and it's a good one. And that's because of a certain booktuber that I'll be mentioning shortly, helping me on that. And realising that it's okay to read middle grade, even though I am in my 40s. It's okay. It's not a big deal. So those are the genres I've gone to, and I've discovered that I think, like I said, going forward, I've loved fantasy a lot more, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with being comfortable in what I'm reading and how I'm doing. Sorry, I'm keeping an eye on the cat. She's been good for a change. Now, to favourite videos that I've made. My favourite, obviously, for me personally, my Spoonie story was, and doing the Spoonies readathon, that was very, very personal. Watching my Spoonie story and having that as a premiere was probably one of my most emotional videos I think I've made in a while. I know I've done videos on chronic pain, I've done videos on anxiety, but would you guys like more videos about my personal experiences? Because going forward in my job, I've discovered patience, something I'd use my experience to help my customers and my patients in my job, in my voluntary job as well. I like to use my experience to help others. Is there any other videos that you guys would like me to do using my experience to help others and help other people with the awareness? I'm thinking about doing the Spoonies readathon again, but I'm not 100% at the moment because of my own mental health, whether I could handle it doing. I want to take the pressure off, but would you guys like me to? I really would like your feedback, because I don't want to do something and put a load of work in and it not be needed. Maybe do I need a year break? Yes, for me, the Spoonie story was fantastic. It spread awareness, it got people out there, and it helped, and it's one of the videos I'm most proud of myself for doing. But do I need to do anything this year, or is it just a case of it? I've done that now, I can leave that away, I've done what I needed to do. Do I still be my advocate? I'd love to know. And then creating the how do I rate my books tag, that was one of my tags. I should have done a playlist for it because so many people did that tag. I've gained so many subscribers, and I'm so bloody proud of that. So that was a tag video that I created myself, and it's actually gone rocketed, and it's brought loads of new subscribers in, and that's something I'm really, really proud of. So it was something, just a random video that I thought of, tag video that I thought of creating. I don't know what I'll do one this year. I don't know yet. I may not. I'm not going to put pressure on myself. It was an idea I got from talking to Jack from Spread Book Joy, and she was like, yeah, just do it. And I did, and I don't tend to do tag videos. I know Gareth from Book Songs and Magic, he tags me so many times in doing tags, but I don't tend to do them anymore. It's just not a thing I enjoy doing as much. But again, I'm not putting pressure on myself. My highest rated videos were actually classics to reread in 2024. That got 1.4k video views. I'm not someone that gets masses of views, and that's fine. I'm okay with who I am. But that was my highest rated video ever, and it's actually something that I'm still really excited about. Like, I'm rereading Mary Barton this month. I can't wait. I've now just been told that now some people wanted to reread Persuasion with me. I'm going to do that. I'm going to reread these books and remember why I loved classics. And that's something. I'm going to go to authors that I know I love. I'm going to go and treat myself to another Wilkie Collins, because Katie's got me desperate to read another Wilkie Collins, whether I save it for October. And another one, I'm going to go forward and read classics from authors that I know I love. And look for them in the charity shops, buy them on ABE Books. Don't have to spend loads, but I'm going to be doing that because that's something that makes me happy. And my top 5 historical fiction authors, that got like 452 views. That got one of the highest views. And talk about historical fiction, well, I could do that all day and all night. Nothing. Would you guys like me to do more of that? I would love. According to the old stats, apparently February was my highest rating reading month, which is good. It's a shorter month, but I got the highest rating. October was the flop. It was the lowest rating month. And that was okay as well. I'm not going to beat myself up. Now to a couple of shout outs, and then I'll just briefly talk about my goals. I don't want this video to be too long. I'd like to shout out some channels that are new to me that I've really got to loving this year. Chatty from the Mad Chatter. Yeah, I watch most of your videos, Chatty, but they're long, so I can't always watch every one of them. But she's a lovely new friend to me. I found her via, I met her obviously on our BookTube meetup, and I think she started following me because of the Spoonies reads on. The other channel was Towering TBR. I found her, she's a chronic pain survivor, not sufferer, I say survivor. I found her through this, she found me through the Spoonies readathon. We've got very different tastes, but I love her. Chatty likes middle grade and likes fantasy, but she's a real middle grade fan, and she's got me back in loving that. And I wasn't going to say some of the bigger channels because I don't need to. But Leanne from Leanne Reads, oh my god, Leanne I love. I also support Charlotte from Coney Reads and reading it, but they're very different tastes. Charlotte from Coney Reads, actually, she's very good. I like her taste, but Leanne for me has got my heart. I love Leanne's videos. She's got my heart. You've all done brilliantly, and I'll link everyone. I've tried to remember, but Leanne I wanted to shout out because she's got great taste in videos, books. She makes me want to buy books. Her and Charlotte have really, both of you got me wanting to read books. And I do love reading it. I do love her. She's brilliant as well. But yeah, so those channels are new to me, channels that I found because of our meetups or because of that. And I wanted to shout out newest channels to me. Charlie coming back to BookTube was just amazing. Yeah, she's putting up there. She's just my best friend. Charlie from Charlie Book Reads is my best friend, my sister, my world. Her coming back to BookTube last year was amazing, and it was a highlight. Another last highlight was obviously going to Katie's book launch in March, I think it was, and then going to the London meetup in the summer. We're meeting up again in March. Talk about tackling my anxiety, doing both those things, but meeting lots of people, doing these things was some of the biggest highlights of my life last year, and moments that I was really proud of. Obviously, the girls in my waffle group, you know who you are. I couldn't have done all of that without you. I'm not going to link their channels because they will tell me I'm sloppy shit. But I am formally saying, Waffle Girls, I couldn't have done this last year without you. Charlie from Charles Heathcote, one of my best friends. Cat from Brews and Reviews, thank you. And thank you. Oh, and also lovely Angela from Reading Off My Shelf. Thank you all for being amazing friends this last year. Couldn't have done it without you. Things have been up and down like a frigging yo-yo. And the wrap up bit of this video, I'm going to end by saying thank you, all of you. Thank you for my subscribers. Thank you for my friends. Thank you, just every one of you. I love you all. Now, just a few goals, because I don't want to be stressed out about next year. First one, obviously, is my Goodreads goal set at 300 books. I don't want to go too much over that because I want to get my numbers. I want to read less, but buy less. But we'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, I want to read less because I want to be able to watch more TV, play Uno with my kids, play football with the kids, watch TV with my partner, have more time with my sisters, have more time with my mum and my friends, do more BookTube meetups, do more things, live. Stop hiding in these books, live. That is my biggest goal for 2024 is to live, to push my anxiety boundaries, to do more things for myself, exercise if I want to exercise, rest if I want to, look after me from the inside to the outside, look after me. That is my biggest goal for 2024, is to do some more self-care. I want to reread some favourite classics. I want to find my love of classics. That is another big goal for me, is to get my love of classics back. Stop reading classics because I think I should read them, but read ones I know I'm going to love and get that passion back. Stop reading books because I think I should read them because I want to read them, and be okay at DNFing. If I don't enjoy a book, sod it, go buy those. It's okay, someone else might like it, that's fine. I'm going to be gentle. Spend less on books. I last year discovered a bit of a love for Waterstones because of the London trips, but I do want to be a bit more practical. I want to not buy books because I think I want them. Spend less. So whether that means also using ABE books a little bit more of the second-hand site, charity shop books are okay, but try and spend less. Because be fussy about what I buy. Buy books because I want to buy them, not because I just think they look pretty and I want them on my shelves. That's okay. But spend less, because I should be spending more on the kids and clothes and other things that are practical. New glasses for starters. By spending less and trying to be a bit more careful about what I read, I would like to go back to the library. By the time when the weather starts brightening up and I can walk to the library, that will be a healthy thing. I want to go back to the library because I went there for a library sale the other day and I kind of want to go back. I know that I've got my own library here, but I want to go back, and I don't want to feel guilty about reading books from the library. I don't want to feel guilty about doing that, and that's something I've let myself, because I've found myself thinking, well, I've got these books on my shelves, I spent money on these, I should read those. It's okay to want to go back to the library. I want to go back. I want to go home. I want to go back to the thing that got me back into loving books. I want to go back to the library. I want to read more fantasy. I want to escape more. I do. Middle grade YA fantasy, that's fine. I want to go back to fantasy. So please, guys, give me some great recommendations. I really want to go back. Middle grade fantasy, YA fantasy probably more comfortable for me. But I want to go back because I really need it. It's been really good. Sci-fi kind of fantasy, that kind of thing. I want to go back and read more of it. Listen to more audiobooks. I'm actually listening to the Britney Spears audiobook in the library. It's another thing, I feel guilty because I should be watching all of my YouTubers and I should be doing this and I should be doing that. And actually I've discovered that listening to the Britney audiobook was actually really good. It's been good to do that when I've gone for walks. Going out for physically for me, with my knee, going out for more walks is another thing. Physically healthy wise, I want to do that for myself. And I want to listen to audiobooks. I want to listen to audiobooks when I haven't got time to actually watch you guys' videos. But I need something in the background. So that's something else I want to do. I want to listen to more audiobooks. I may think about getting an audiobook app. I may think about spending a bit of money on that. I'll talk to the girls at Waffle Girls and find out how that will work. But that's something I want to do. I do still want to, even if I'm still debating about the Spoonies readathon, but if I don't, I still want to read more books with good disability rep. Annie McNamara is obviously Spoonies rep herself. She's a Spoonie. I want to read books by her. I want to read more books with disability representation. I've found quite a few recently and I want to keep going forward for that. So if you guys know really good books about disabilities that I can read, please let me know. I really would love to read more of that. That's still one of my biggest champions. I'm a disability champion and I am a chronic pain and invisible disabilities rep. I want to read more about that. I'm still going to shout it out. I'm still going to do everything on my channel to help others because that makes what the suffering I go through worth it. I want to complete more series. I'm going to be doing a series video soon this month. I want to complete more, carry on more series, but not beat myself up about it. I'll do a video on it. So I'm not going to just focus on certain ones. I want to pick and choose which work for me. But I do want to do more work on series and not feel daunted by them. And it's a kind of classic one, but I do want to try and read more books set in other countries because I have found that it's actually been quite interesting. Historical fiction ones, contemporary ones in other countries, like The Gift of Vivek Oji. That was a brilliant book, and that's set in a different country. There have been amazing books that have been set in other countries, and I do want to try and do that. But they need to suit what I read. I want to push my boundaries, but they still need to suit my kind of reading taste, and that's okay. And like I said, my biggest goal for 2024 is to look after myself, be happy in myself, and just do what works for me. I'll be 5 years on BookTube in April. Don't quite know what I'm going to do to celebrate. I'm going to talk to my friends and try and work that out. But yeah. I am thinking about what emoji I want to have at the end of this video. And I think one of the things that have helped me on a positivity note this year have been hugging again. Still grateful for that, even after all these years after COVID. So I would like, if you got to the end of this video, give me a hug emoji or a heart emoji, because no matter what our goals are, no matter what we've done last year and this year, friends, online, in person, family, they are the core of what we've got. Books are a great escapism, they're a great thing, but we couldn't do any of that without our friends and family. And giving hugs, giving gentle friendship, even if it's taking the piss out of each other. You know who you are, Alice and Jem, you guys are dangerous. But yeah, do that. And going forward, be there for each other, be there for your friends and family, enjoy your books. Let's hope 2024 is a brilliant year for everyone, because we all flipping deserve it. We're all amazing. Let me know down below some of your goals for the 2024 and any of your highlights for 2023. I'd love to know. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel, not subscribed yet, bring on my digging, and I'll see you all soon. Bye bye.